Have you ever wondered how economic inequality might be sculpting the world around us? Let's take a journey across the globe to South Africa, a nation renowned for its diverse cultures and breathtaking landscapes. But beneath its vibrant facade lies a stark reality, a reality where the chasm between the rich and the poor is not merely a gap, but a yawning abyss. South Africa holds the dubious distinction of being the country with the highest level of economic inequality in the world. This isn't a title won overnight. Rather, it's a result of a complex web of historical, social, and economic factors. The echoes of apartheid still resound in the country's economic structure, where the color of one's skin can heavily influence their financial destiny. Picture this: nestled amongst the shanty towns and impoverished neighborhoods, you'll find a world-class restaurant, recognized as one of the best globally, standing like a beacon of opulence amidst the sea of poverty. Guarded by the army, it's a stark symbol of the nation's economic disparity. In South Africa, the rich and poor live side by side, yet worlds apart. The average monthly income of a white South African is almost 5 times that of a black South African. It's a world where the color of your skin can mean the difference between earning $1,000 a month or scraping by with $100. This is a world where the lavishness of the wealthy exists in stark contrast to the destitution of the poor. A world where the cries of the impoverished are drowned out by the clinking of silverware and the popping of champagne corks in high-end restaurants. A world where the dreams of many are overshadowed by the realities of economic inequality. In this harsh reality of stark disparity, the color of one's skin still determines if they earn $1,000 or a mere $100. This is the stark reality of economic inequality in South Africa, a reality that we must confront head-on if we are ever to bridge this great divide. Beneath the surface of this economic divide, a sinister world of racketeering thrives. This is the underworld of South Africa, a dark mirror reflecting the stark realities of economic inequality. Here, local street gangs, reminiscent of those from the 90s era, engage in rampant racketeering. These are not mere groups of miscreants, they are sophisticated syndicates, exploiting the vulnerable and the desperate. Racketeering in South Africa is an insidious problem, a cancerous growth feeding off the poverty-stricken masses. Often, this underworld's lifeblood is the poor neighborhoods, a stark contrast to the opulent areas where world-class restaurants are guarded by armies. Here, in the labyrinthine alleyways and dilapidated houses, the racketeers rule, their authority unchallenged. These criminal syndicates operate through fear and intimidation, offering so-called protection services to local businesses. But in reality, they are the very threat from which they claim to shield. They force shop owners to pay a hefty protection fee, under the threat of violence or property damage. The victims are often the poorest of the poor who can ill afford such extortion but are left with no choice. This illicit activity further exacerbates the economic divide. It drains the already meager resources of the poor, pushing them further into the abyss of poverty. It also fuels a cycle of crime and retaliation, creating an environment of constant fear and uncertainty. The societal impact is far-reaching, affecting not just the victims but their families and communities as well. The children growing up in these areas often see crime as the only viable path, thus perpetuating the cycle of violence and economic disparity. They are drawn into the world of racketeering, lured by the promise of quick money and the illusion of power. They are taught that survival means turning to crime, a harsh lesson that further deepens the chasm of inequality. In this underworld, survival often means turning to crime, further deepening the chasm of inequality. This is the grim reality of the underworld of racketeering in South Africa, a reality that is both a consequence and a cause of the country's economic divide. It is a reality that we must confront if we are to tackle the root causes of poverty and inequality in South Africa. Despite the grim reality, South Africa's vibrant culture and stunning landscapes continue to draw tourists from around the globe. The breathtaking Table Mountain, the picturesque Cape of Good Hope, the compelling wildlife safaris, all paint a picture of an idyllic paradise, a place that seems worlds away from the hardship and strife we've been discussing. But herein lies an intriguing paradox. The tourism industry, while contributing significantly to the country's economy, can often act as a smokescreen, masking the stark realities of economic inequality and crime. It's a delicate balancing act, where the enchanting allure of South Africa's natural beauty and rich cultural heritage is often juxtaposed against the shadows of poverty and crime lurking just out of sight. This is where our local guide, Kostya Kuzminik, comes into the picture. Kostya, a seasoned explorer and a connoisseur of the uncharted, is all set to take us on an immersive journey into the heart of South Africa. His mission? To peel back the glossy veneer of tourism and delve into the inaccessible corners of this diverse land. Along the way, he'll introduce us to the real South Africa, a place where the best restaurant in the world stands guarded by the army amidst humble houses, where skin color still dictates whether one's paycheck will be $1,000 or a mere $100. Through Kostya's eyes, we'll witness firsthand the paradox of a nation that is both a tourist's dream and a stark emblem of inequality. But let's not forget, tourism isn't the villain here. It's a vital lifeline for many South Africans, a source of income and a beacon of hope. Yet it's important to remember that behind the glossy brochures and the Instagram-worthy snapshots, there's a whole other side to this beautiful country. A side that's often overlooked, yet desperately needs our attention. Yet behind the irresistible allure of tourism, the harsh truth of inequality remains veiled. So, where do we go from here? How do we confront this colossal issue of economic inequality? The answer is as complex as the problem itself, but it is not without hope. Firstly, it is imperative to improve education. South Africa's future lies in the hands of its young ones. Providing quality education to all children, regardless of their background, is a step towards leveling the playing field. Education that equips them not just with academic knowledge, but with real-world skills and a sense of entrepreneurship can be a game changer. Secondly, we need to focus on job creation. South Africa's unemployment rate is one of the highest in the world. To combat this, opportunities must be created in sectors where South Africa has competitive advantages. These include agriculture, mining, and tourism. By doing so, we can provide livelihoods to those who need them the most and stimulate economic growth in the process. Next, it's time to address wage policies. It's a harsh reality that skin color in South Africa still influences one's earning potential. The implementation of fair wage policies can help to bridge this gap. The principle is simple: equal pay for equal work. This not only promotes economic equality but also fosters a sense of dignity and respect among workers. However, these solutions cannot operate in isolation. They demand the active participation of every citizen, every business, and every government entity. It's about collective action and social responsibility. It's about understanding that the prosperity of one is linked to the prosperity of all. The path forward is not easy. It is fraught with challenges and obstacles, but the journey towards equality has never been easy, anywhere in the world. It requires resilience, determination, and a shared vision for a better future. The road to equality is long and arduous, but with concerted efforts, a fairer South Africa is within reach. It's not just about economic growth, it's about inclusive growth. It's about ensuring that every South African, regardless of their circumstances, has an equal opportunity to realize their potential. And that, indeed, is a cause worth fighting for. As we leave the streets of South Africa, let's carry with us not just the memory of its beauty, but also the stark reality of its inequality. We have journeyed together through the vivid landscapes of South Africa, from its bustling cities to its quiet townships. We've seen firsthand the stark contrast between the affluence of the few and the poverty of the many. We've learned about the harsh realities of racketeering and street gangs, and how these elements are often born out of desperation and lack of alternatives. We've looked beyond the picturesque tourist destinations and dove into the heart of the most inaccessible places, where the true face of South Africa is revealed. We've discovered that in the midst of poverty there is resilience, there is creativity, and there is a burning desire for change. We've also met individuals like Kostya Kuzminik, who, despite the odds, strive to make a difference in their communities. They are the unsung heroes, the torchbearers of change, reminding us that every individual has a role to play in shaping society. But the onus doesn't solely rest on the shoulders of these individuals. It's a shared responsibility. It's about collective action. It's about creating opportunities for everyone, regardless of their skin color or economic status. It's about breaking down the barriers of inequality and building bridges of opportunity. Remember, South Africa is not an isolated case. It is a stark reminder of the widening economic gap that exists in many parts of the world. It's a call to action for all of us to step up and contribute to a more equitable world. As we end this journey, let's not forget the lessons we've learned. Let's not turn a blind eye to the realities of inequality. Instead, let's use this knowledge as a catalyst for change. Let's strive to create a society where everyone has a fair shot at success. In the end, we must ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want to live in? A world divided by wealth or a world united by equality?